Hello and welcome to Colin Bradley Artcast. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
How you doing, Dad?
I'm very well, thank you. It was lovely seeing you and the family yesterday. We had a
Yeah,
lovely
we had a
day.
lovely day, didn't we? It
It
was
was
really
very,
nice.
very nice. Weather was kind to us, and it was Canterbury was bustling, wasn't it? Expected Christmas, but it wasn't quite Christmassy enough for me. But I suppose it's a bit early yet.
Oh
But,
yeah, Halloween first.
oh yes, that's right. Yes, but your two little ones were absolutely charming. They
Yeah,
charmed the pants off us.
they were on good form yesterday. Good form. Just on the our way out of having this bug that's gone round. We're both okay, but yeah, Barnaby's still on his way out of that. It's stuck around a little bit. It's gone round us multiple times, but we're doing really well. Tired, obviously.
Mm. But
Tired for the foreseeable,
it's
but we were all right.
draining, isn't it? This sort of thing, Steve. It drains you, and especially when you've got the four of you all suffering. It's nice though when it subsides and you're back to normal. And you think, oh, life gets back to as it was, and
Yeah,
especially with the two little ones.
there's lovely moments in every day where even though it's if one of them or both of them are not well, there's still lovely moments in the day that make you laugh and make you smile. So
That's right.
very, very nice. Um, so this week we've got a couple of things to talk about. We've got the lion to show, and you finished that, so we'll talk about that. And then we also had a request on our Facebook group, which I thought would be really interesting to get your advice
Hmm.
live to see what you think. So let's start there. So Ange on Facebook, on our private Facebook group, and you can join that. Everyone can join that. That's taken one of your classes. All you've got to do is go to Colin Bradley School of Art Students on Facebook and request to join, and then one of the team will approve your request. But I'm going to flash up Ange's picture on screen because Ange asks your advice and anyone else's advice in the group about background for these cats. So Ange says, I have put the smaller cat closer to the bigger cat, and I have included the treat ball, but I can't make my mind up whether to leave it as is on the sand pastel mat and include the shadows. What does anyone think? And you, Dad? She's a bit stumped on this one. So what would you do, Dad?
Well, it is a very tricky one. I would have tended to do each cat separately. That's what I would have done because when you put two cats together, it never quite, or two animals together, come to that, it never quite works as you want it. One's okay and the other one's not. What I did with this particular picture, you won't be able to see the original because I've cut that down a bit. It was a larger photograph. So what I did is I chopped it to what you see there as being a reasonable picture. What I would probably have done, if it was be possible, I would be able to do it, is to move the cat on the right, the one above the ball, over slightly nearer to the cat, not nearer to the camera, on the same distance. Just move it slightly. Well, so there's just a little less, and then you can make it a portrait
I
rather
think
than a
that's what
landscape.
Ange has done.
Yeah, well, she needs to do it more. she needs to push it over a bit more. In the same, as I say, don't bring it any nearer because it will look silly. But a little bit. That's what I would do. I mean, you can do. Everybody's got the choice to do what they want to do. I probably would keep the ball in there, actually, especially where it is. I'd probably keep that. Now, what about the background? Well, I wouldn't do that background at all. I would do probably. It depends if you fancy doing that carpet. Well, yeah, do the carpet. But I think I would probably make it that sort of reddy tone And there's a ready tone in the carpet, isn't there? And I did make it that tone all over. And I would probably use the angle, the angle of that cabinet behind, the way it cuts across at an angle. I'd keep that angle, and then I would perhaps put a skirting board in, something like that, and then make it a plain background. And that background could be, you see that, I don't know what it is, on the right, very right-hand side, you've got, I
That
don't know,
speaker.
that.
Oh, that's a speaker, I think.
Is it? Well, I quite like that colour, not the surround, just the colour. So if you made it that colour, and then sort of maybe a white or a creamy skirting board.
The grey colour, this grey colour in the middle.
If you look at it, it kind of goes very well with the animals, tone-wise, I mean. I wouldn't make it any darker than that. I'd make it that colour. I'm just saying what I would do, Steve. But that would be my suggestion.
It is a tricky one. It's a complicated picture to figure out because there's so much going on in that background that you're right. It's the right thing to change it.
There is a much, much, much more complicated one. Do you want me to tell you what it would be if it was me?
Yeah.
What I would do is move the big cat and put it where the other cat is, and the other cat where the big cat was. In other words, swap them over. But I wouldn't just do that. I'd leave the big cat as it is, and the small cat, I'd turn it and twist it round. You can do that on the computer. You can twist it round. So that small cat is looking this way, and the other one goes that way. But that's very complicated, and I wouldn't suggest... who is it, love? Who is
Ange.
it? Ange. I wouldn't suggest Ange does that. That's much too complicated. But I could do it. But, that's entirely up to her. I would probably advise her to stay as it is. Stay as it was, but I'd move it. If you can. If you can't, you can't. But I'd move that cat slightly closer. But not closer. Nearer to the cat. But at the same distance away. I hope that helps.
Yeah, interesting. Would you include the shadows that are at the bottom?
Yes, you've got to because of the lighting of the cat. Mm-hmm. So the cat is lit from almost above there. If you elongated the shadow, it looks silly. If you left it out, it looks even worse. So you've got to put them in. You've got no choice.
Great. Well, that's good advice. I hope that's helpful, Ange, and obviously others that are watching. It's always interesting to see your advice on a picture and what you would do. And I know that's really helpful for others too. Okay, so let's show a couple of stages. So we were talking about the lion last week, and this is the stage that we showed last week. This is the latest that we had. So I just thought I'd remind everyone where you were at. Obviously, you're putting that background in as well as you go along, which is a new kind of thing for you because you used to always do backgrounds last.
Well, you can see why I did that, can't you? Because you've got a brilliant contrast and you understand that contrast. So that's the reason I did it. That was the colour, the original colour. So I haven't mucked about with that. That's more or less exactly. I may have played with the colours a little bit in terms of, using the 175 particularly. I think I used 177 to start with there, which is in the animal, and 175, which is in the animal. And they're the only two colours I used on that background. Oh, wait, no, I didn't put a grey on. No, I think I put a grey on first of all. Sorry about that. Actually, you can see that grey if you look on the left-hand side, on the edge of the dark background shadow there. You can see a bit of grey. You've got a grey pastel matte paper that I've used, a dark grey pastel matte paper. You can just see a little bit of that grey. And of course, the question would be, why do you put that on? What do you want that for? Well, you don't have to have that. But I do like to have something to work my dark colours into. And that neutral grey, which is 273, that's the colour I was using. It gives it a much richer look. So those are the colours that I used. But it's not an easy one, this. And that's the reason I did it, as you've seen it there. And I think the next one where we show it, it's even more bitty, but I can explain that away, I think, when we come to watch it. Excuse me.
You're going to see this jump a fair bit in terms of progression there. All of that background is in.
Well, there was silly doing one little bit in the end. I had to put the, well, I didn't have to put it, but I decided to put the dead tree in. And the reason is, that, again, that links up with the animal and the background. But when I subsequently, when you see the last picture I've got, that was a bit light. I felt it was brighter than that on the original photograph. So I pulled it down a little bit, but I really still felt that was a bit bright. The top part of that was a bit bright. But you can see here, and the reason I put this in, you can see the ivory on the animal. Now, it's not going to end up like that, but you have to put those colours in. There's 2 or 3 colours there. I can't remember all of them, Steve. I'm sorry. I know it wasn't long ago I did it, but I can't remember them now. But I know that I used the ivory and I used the grey. The grey I was using there was the 270, which is an earth grey. And then I used another one, like creamy colour, I can't remember what it was now. 102, I think. Anyway, the idea was to try to, exactly the same reason why I did the background, I'm talking about putting a base colour in. I had to put that base colour in, and you can see, well, if you look at the paw on the left, that was the same colour as that. You can see that when I've done this, I've used a bit of ochre. 187, I think I was using there, as well as the 273. But you can see it beginning to come now.
So is that finished on the left-hand side? Is that paw finished?
Yes, to all intents and purposes, it is. I did work a little bit more on it, but you could say that it's finished. Yeah,
yeah. It looks really good. It looks finished, and you can see that the build up of that mane, the chest fur, as well, and how you get it. Is it literally the next stage? Let me just try and show you it. Hold on.
Well, don't move it just yet. What I'd like to just point out to you is that forward paw. Oh, you're looking at that first. Well, look at that first.
I was just going to show the difference between. Does it go from this and then you immediately make it that?
That's right. Yes.
Because that looks like that's a lot of work to get it from that to that.
Not as much as you think.
Oh yeah.
No, not as much as you think. It was because I'm using 2 dark colours there. Remember, I'm using the 177 and 175, and then there's also a little grey that I put on top of it. The grey, the light grey, is added afterwards. No, it's not as hard as you think. People will see that. I mean, well, I'm saying it's not easy. Put it that way. But
Go on, you were going to talk about the front paw.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at that. You see, when you see the picture in a minute or two, I hope that you'll be amazed at the way that paw really looks as though it's resting over the tree detail that we've got there. But if you look at it, you see that it starts off and then you lose it.
Yeah, it curls around here, doesn't it?
Now that is critical to this. If I hadn't done that, it wouldn't have looked right. But I was particularly pleased with this, the way this came up.
Yeah, so it's this bit here, isn't it? Well, that was
That's
terrible, It's the fact that it's hidden
That's,
there.
mhm.
That is the key
It
to
is.
making it look
It wasn't until
fourth
afterwards,
dimension.
really, Steve, that I realised that when I saw it at the end, because I was working on it and working on it and working on it, going back and forth. But it's that I think that I got the most surprise, pleasure out of.
Mm.
Because when I saw it, when you look at it there, it was a bit, a few little dark spots for the claws and just a bit of white background. It doesn't look anything, does it? But when you see that on the next shot,
Let's see it. Let's show the finished picture.
see what I mean?
Totally.
Casually, you know what I mean? As you can imagine, him flopping his arm down.
Yeah.
Little things
So
like that
good.
give me a lot of pleasure.
So good. So much dimension. This skin, these skin ripples, folds
No,
are
it's hard to
just
believe, isn't it? Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's hard to believe that was the colour. Remember that like bright yellowy colour? Oh God! But once you put those colours I've told you about, there's quite a lot of colour on that.
And also this section down here. Like, how do you make that happen?
It, I don't, I can't really explain it to you. It's just like there is very, very little colour in there. You've got really I used a bit of white, a bit of light grey, the medium grey, and the 175. There really isn't very much more than that. I put a little bit of pink in and just a touch of brown in, but not to speak of. But that, if I hadn't put that in, that paw would look daft, wouldn't it? It would look silly, just flopped in the front. So
Yeah.
you have to put the detail in, otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Like, I love the lion. I think he looks amazing. But this is just so interesting. Like the tree, just this section down here. Like the lion is obviously the feature of the picture, but man, like I just want to see how you do all of these sections.
Mm.
You know, because I don't think I've seen you do something, particularly at this like level of detail and intricacy, to get such a variety. Like I've seen you do tree trunks and stuff, but there's just so many interesting parts to this tree that I just think is so
Well,
fascinating.
the secret really is the colour of the paper. You can see the colour of the paper on the outside edge, the dark grey pastel matte. If I hadn't had that, it wouldn't have worked as well. I'd have had to put lots more colour on, lots of base colours. But if you look at that grey, especially the area on the left-hand side there, you can see that if you just put a little bit of grey on, that's 273, I like to think then, 273, a little bit of 175, you've got that colour. Well, it's not as easy as that, of course, but that's basically all I did. And then put a little bit of light grey and white, of course, just touch white in there. You don't put white too much underneath. You just you add the white as you're going along. Unlike the line where I said you've got to put a base colour, you don't have to with this.
Right.
You're using the colour of the paper, really, as your foundation. And you
Yeah.
get... It wouldn't have worked as well if I had used any other colour paper.
Yeah. Amazing. Such a good picture. So interesting. How would you rate this in terms of difficulty? You said it was a hard one earlier.
I would say it was very hard, Steve. Very hard. People that tackle this are going to want a medal at the end of the day. There's so many things that can go wrong. Even in the simplicity of that tree trunk, or dead tree I call it, the simplicity of that is hard. You wouldn't think it. I've only 4 colours, 5 if you include a little bit of white going back in. But it's the way you hold the pencil. It's the way you drag the pencil. It's the way you stop. You go so far and you stop. Don't keep working on it. Once you achieve the effect, that's it. Don't go back. The only thing I did do, remember I did say that I darkened that tree on the top. It was quite bright on the original photograph, but I wanted to darken. But I wanted to be faithful, really, to the original photographic reference. And of course, that area, do you remember when we were talking about it? It was a week before last, was it? And I said that tail, I couldn't understand what that was at the back. The tail and that area to the right-hand side, it was the original picture shows it. I haven't got that here with me at the moment. But that tail, and I said to what I'm going to do is extend the tree trunk so that we lose that bit of a tail. You can still see a bit of it sticking out there, but not very much of it. But it was confusing. And those are the little things that you can do when you do something like this. It doesn't alter the picture very much, and it's fairly easy to do as well.
Yeah.
But I'm
Fantastic.
pleased with it.
Looks absolutely amazing. And if it wasn't already obvious, that picture, you filmed that as a class. So that will be up on the website in the future, so people can learn to draw this one. I'm working on another picture at the moment, the white tiger, that I think you did at the beginning of the year.
All right.
So that one is about, I'm about halfway through editing that one, so shouldn't be long before that one comes out, another line. But yeah, great job on that, Dad. I think it's fantastic. Have you thought about another picture? You thought about what you might do next?
4. I've got 4 lined up. I could change my mind on some of them, but there's 2 dogs and 2 cats. I've evened it off. All the cat lovers will be very pleased. I've even 2 cats. And all the dog lovers, because there's 2 dogs, I've evened it up a bit. And then I've got a grey wolf, which came in only this week. I saw it on Facebook. I belong to a group that free reference photographs. They allow you to do it. Lots of people take the photographs, and I've used quite a few of them. That lion was one of them, actually. And but this grey wolf was beautiful. It was a beautiful. I love wolves anyway, and I've done a few of them now. But I thought, well, maybe another one. I can just. I haven't earmarked him for sure yet, but I've got him standing in the wings. But the dog that I'm using at the moment, I think I've got the other dog. I might be able to give you, like I did before, a brief. There you go.
Oh, that's just beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I love that.
You can see how you can't resist some of these.
Yeah.
But quite a lot of work I won't bring it back now, but there's quite a lot of work in that background. Again, similar to the cats we were talking about, I've got to alter it and change it, and that'll be interesting. We'll talk about that next time. How I've got it in my mind. I'm never really sure. That's one that I will do the background afterwards. I won't do it as I go along, because I'm using the white pastel paper for that.
Gotcha.
You think, well, you've got a dark animal, can't you use black, grey? The problem there is you never get the white enough. You won't get that contrast. By using the light grey pastel, I can emphasise the white, but still put the dark colour in.
Gotcha.
All going to work out, hopefully. But that's the next one. That's on the chocks.
Fantastic. Excellent. Good stuff. Well, I'll check in with you, see how you're doing with that picture or a different one you decide next week. And maybe we'll get some more questions that have come in as well. If you do post something on Facebook that you'd like for us to talk about, then just tag either one of us in it so that we can see it. So we pick it up and mention that you'd like us to discuss it, and perhaps we can talk about it on the show. But you can always drop us an email, comment on this video with your questions, and we can talk about them in the show. Otherwise, we'll just continue to talk about your artwork, Dad, and the various pieces that you've done. But we'll leave it there for this week. So thank you, everyone, so much for watching and for listening. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley. Enjoy your week.